In this video, we'll be taking a look at 3 NBA games happening on April 11, 2024, and providing you with free team picks and total picks for each one of those games, so 6 picks in total. Welcome back to Cash Out Sports. Let's dive right into it. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe and to click the bell icon to get notified as soon as these videos get released, so that you have more time to plan out your bets as we provide these videos on a daily basis. I can guarantee that you'll have all the important information that you'll need on these 3 NBA games after fully watching this video. One more thing before we start, if you would like to gain access to our best exclusive sports picks to take your journey to the next level, then check out our Patreon in the link down below where we offer our best single picks, parlay picks, and much more. Now let's get started. Chicago Bulls versus Detroit Pistons. The Bulls and Pistons, both from the Central Division, will face each other on Thursday night. Chicago suffered a home defeat against the Knicks, losing 128-117 as +5 underdogs. On the other hand, Detroit aced a loss against Philadelphia, 120-102, also as underdogs. The Chicago Bulls have struggled recently, losing 7 out of their last 10 games. They aim to avoid a third consecutive loss after their significant defeat against the Knicks. DeMar DeRozan led the team with 34 points and 6 assists, shooting 12 of 22 from the field. Nikola Vucevic contributed 26 points on 12 of 16 shooting, with Kobe White adding 24 points and 6 assists. Chicago shot 53% from the field and 10 of 28 from beyond the arc, but faced difficulties from the start, giving up 36 points in the first quarter. Javon Green and Jevon Carter made smaller offensive contributions. Meanwhile, the Detroit Pistons have been struggling, losing 13 of their last 14 games and seeking to avoid a 6th consecutive loss after a heavy defeat against the 76ers. Jaden Ivey scored 25 points with 6 3-pointers, while Evan Fournier added 21 points off the bench. Jalen Duren contributed 15 points, 11 rebounds, and 2 assists. Detroit shot 40% from the field and 14 of 30 from beyond the arc, but they were outplayed from the beginning, allowing 64 points in the first half. The Bulls are still dealing with injuries, missing Andre Drummond and possibly Io Dosunmu, while the Pistons are without Simone Fontecchio and may also miss Cade Cunningham. Detroit has won 2 of the 3 games against Chicago this season, both in straight-up wins and against the spread. This match will be the Pistons' final home game of the season, presenting a good opportunity for a win. Chicago enters the game with several injured players, and Detroit has shown they can compete against their division rivals, going 3-2 against the spread in their last 5 meetings against Chicago. Despite the Pistons' struggles this season, they have been competitive against division opponents. While Detroit may not be in contention, they have covered the spread in 40 games this season. Thus, the Detroit Pistons to cover the spread as underdogs is our full game side pick. In Chicago's road games, the over has hit 21 times out of 38, including 8-2 when the Bulls are favorites on the road. Against New York, Chicago scored 117 points with a 53.4% shooting accuracy and dominated inside the paint. Given Detroit's weak rim defense, Chicago is likely to repeat this scoring trend. Detroit, despite its roster limitations, has seen the overhit in recent games. Expect the game to be competitive, especially on the offensive end. In their previous matchups this season, these teams averaged a combined 216 points per game, with the over hitting twice in 3 games. Given their playing styles and defensive vulnerabilities, expect another high-scoring game. Chicago's slower pace contrasts with Detroit's faster tempo, yet both teams struggle defensively. In recent games, both teams have consistently scored above 108 points. Therefore, over the projected total is our full game total pick. New York Knicks versus Boston Celtics. The New York Knicks are set to face off against the Boston Celtics in a critical Atlantic Division matchup this Thursday. The Knicks, currently vying for the 3rd seed in the Eastern Conference playoffs, still harbor hopes of catching up to the Bucks for the 2nd spot. Meanwhile, the Celtics have secured the top seed in the Eastern Conference and have ensured home court advantage throughout the playoffs. Recent performances suggest that the New York Knicks are in good form, having won 3 out of their last 4 games. They're keen on maintaining this momentum after a convincing 128-117 away victory against the Bulls on Tuesday. Jalen Brunson spearheaded their effort with an impressive 45 points and 8 assists on 1 3 of 2 4 shooting. Don DiVincenzo contributed 21 points and 6 assists, while Josh Hart provided 17 points, 13 rebounds, and 7 assists. The Knicks shot an efficient 55% from the field and made 17 of 36 shots from beyond the arc, establishing control early with a 36-point first quarter and finishing strong with solid defense in the fourth quarter. In contrast, the Boston Celtics were riding a 5-game winning streak before succumbing to a 104-91 defeat against the Bucks on Tuesday. Jason Tatum led their scoring with 22 points and 6 assists, supported by Jaylen Brown's 14 points and 10 rebounds, and Jrue Holiday's 12 points, 7 rebounds, and 5 assists. However, the team struggled collectively, shooting just 39% from the field and 17 of 52 from three-point range. They found themselves trailing significantly by halftime, which hampered their competitiveness throughout the game. The Knicks continue to be without key players like Julius Randle and Dwayne Washington Jr., while the Celtics are closely monitoring the status of Al Horford, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, and Kristaps Porzingis, all of whom are questionable for the upcoming game. Given the Celtics' secure top position in the Eastern Conference, they lack significant motivation to win this match against the Knicks, who are pushing for a favorable playoff position. Considering this, the uncertainties around the availability of Porzingis and Horford seem less critical, likely indicating their absence to avoid risking injury against the Knicks' intensity. Jalen Brunson's impressive form positions him as a potential top 5 MVP candidate, and his influence will be pivotal as the Knicks strive for victory. Despite the Celtics' advantage as the home team and their recent dominance over the Knicks with 4 consecutive wins, their lack of playoff stakes diminishes the urgency to secure a victory. With key players like Porzingis, Brown, Holiday, Tatum, and Horford in question, Boston's strategy will likely prioritize cautious player management. Meanwhile, the Knicks approach this game with nearly full health and a determined pursuit of a top 3 seed in the East. So the New York Knicks to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. The Knicks have exhibited high-scoring prowess in recent games, surpassing 120 points in their last 3 victories. With Brunson's exceptional scoring form, having exceeded 40 points in 2 consecutive games, he is poised to exploit a potentially complacent Celtics defense. Both teams excel in three-point shooting, setting the stage for an engaging shootout where reserves from both sides may heavily contribute from long range. Therefore, given the expected offensive fireworks from both teams, over the projected total is our full game total pick. Houston Rockets versus Utah Jazz. 2 teams from the Western Conference, both focused on building for the future, are set to clash in Utah with hopes of securing a victory. The Houston Rockets, coming off a morale-boosting 118-106 win over the Orlando Magic, are hitting the road to face the Utah Jazz on Thursday night. In their previous outing, the Rockets exceeded expectations by defeating Orlando as 2.5-point underdogs. On the other side, the Utah Jazz suffered a 111-95 defeat at home against the Denver Nuggets, failing to cover the 15.5-point spread. Although the Jazz hold a historical advantage in regular season matchups, the Rockets have won all 3 encounters this season, including a narrow 101-100 victory on March 29th. Houston Rockets, previously struggling through a 5-game losing streak, found relief with an impressive 118-106 win against Orlando on Tuesday. Fred VanVleet led the charge with 37 points, 8 rebounds, and 6 assists. Jabari Smith Jr. contributed 23 points, 7 rebounds, and 5 assists, while Dillon Brooks added 15 points. The Rockets shot 52% from the field and made 15 of 35 three-point attempts. They dominated early, scoring 36 points in the first quarter and extending their lead with 34 points in the third quarter. Meanwhile, the Utah Jazz have been struggling, winning only 2 games since March began. Their recent loss to the Nuggets saw Talen Horton-Tucker lead the team with 24 points off the bench, while Omer Uitsevin added 20 points and 11 rebounds. Luka Samanic contributed 15 points and 10 rebounds. Despite rallying from a 19-point deficit, the Jazz faltered in the fourth quarter, managing just 15 points. The Rockets continue to miss Alperen Sengun and Yezian Tate, while the Jazz are without John Collins, Jordan Clarkson, and Lauri Markkanen. Utah's fortunes have plummeted since reaching a .500 record on February 6th, losing 24 of their last 27 games. It's unlikely that Markkanen, Clarkson, or Collins will return this season, leading the Jazz to focus on developing their young talent. Houston had playoff hopes dashed after a 5-game losing streak. Jabari Smith Jr. showcased his talent in the recent win, amassing 23 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 blocks, and 3 three-pointers in 41 minutes. He emerged as the second highest scorer behind Fred VanVleet and has been on a scoring spree lately, averaging 19 points, 6.3 rebounds, 1.1 blocks, and 3 three-pointers over his last games. Despite missing the playoffs, Houston is rebounding well after a disappointing previous season. Both teams have little at stake at this point in the season, making it challenging to predict outcomes. However, the Rockets remain competitive, unlike the Jazz, who have won just 2 games since late February. Utah seems to be in full rebuilding mode, eyeing top picks in the NBA draft. In contrast, the Rockets are committed to playing their key players and have been a top 5 cover team in the league at 56.4%. The Rockets, once struggling, showed their strength with a decisive victory over the Magic. They are clear favorites against a Jazz team that has been the league's weakest over the last month. With 3 victories already this season against the Jazz and key players available, the Rockets are poised to dominate. Despite a significant point spread, expect the Rockets to triumph comfortably over the young, inexperienced Jazz squad. So the Houston Rockets to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. Houston has stayed under the projected total in 40 of their 79 games this season. They rank 9th in turnovers, averaging 12 per game, and 12th in pace with 97.4 possessions per game. Utah has hit the over in 43 of their 79 games, ranking 29th in turnovers with 14.6 per game and 9th in pace with 97.9 possessions per game. Both teams operate at a similar pace, heading into this uneventful Western Conference matchup. Utah's defensive struggles are apparent, ranking last in defensive rating this season. Both teams are likely to experiment with younger lineups, especially the Jazz, who are resting key players. Recent trends suggest high-scoring games, with the Rockets surpassing the total in 6 consecutive games and Utah in 4 of their last 5. With the Jazz's defensive woes, expect Houston to capitalize and contribute to a high-scoring affair, surpassing the projected total. Over the projected total is our full game total pick. That's all for now, so if you have any other games you would like reviewed, then leave a comment down below with the game you would like analyzed. Subscribe to our channel, leave a like on this video, and we'll get to it as soon as we possibly can. We would also love to hear your opinion on the picks presented to you in this video, whether you agree or disagree with them, so leave a comment down below and do let us know.